And yes, I know his leg's tangled and he's on a halty harness around his face, which works the better. But we do have to detangle it a lot, don't we? We go, uh-oh, 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 buddy. You can do it? There we go. See, good boy. Oh, something interesting in there. We're going to pee on it. Yeah, of course we are. Yeah, there's pee all over that stuff. And there's the vans up there. So we don't know where we're going. Where are we going now? So that's where we've just come from. Look at this. That's a bit of a reveal, isn't it? That's lovely. And that, I think, is just the outskirts of Haworth, you can see on the left there. But yeah, that's a bit of alright. So I think we've got to go down here and then up the lane that we drove down to get to the parking. Mate, come on this way. Come on. Mummy don't want to go in there. But yeah, so today we've got an actual inside look at one of the industrial units we looked at. And then we've got about an hour's drive to a different one, which is a bit bigger and a bit more per month. But we are wondering, because some of the stuff's a bit more expensive, which, you know, we can afford, but we couldn't do much else while we're paying for it. So what we need to do at that point is see what we can do to earn more of a living from the unit. It's an industrial unit, it's a light one, and most of these are for things like storage or dispatch, distribution, that kind of thing. So it's like trying to figure out what we can do. And of course there's loads of things you can do to help people that live in vans. That, you know, there's no postal address as such, but for something to have Amazon parcels delivered to and then forwarded on to different countries that you can't normally get Amazon parcels delivered to, that kind of thing. Camper van help, you know, offer the workshop for people to come and use if they need to do something inside on their camper van. So there's a few different things that we can do to help the unit pay for itself. So that's also a thing. And I could actually have a little desk and have my accounting company sat right there and have things sent to it rather than doing everything remote all the time. So there's that too. So we've got lots of things to think about. But lately, we just feel so tired. We're just so tired, and I don't know what it is. I don't know whether it's just the whole everything that's happened recently catching up with us or whatever. There's still been a few things that have not been mentioned on here that are also taxing for us. And I know everyone's got shit going on at the minute, but everyone reacts to it differently as well, don't they? So yeah, there's lots of things to think of. And we've got to stop putting our pressure on, John especially, because he'll be like, we've not managed to find what we want in 5 minutes, so that's it, it's all a disaster. And when he gets like that, that's when I think he needs a break. Something needs to give, because that's not a normal reaction, and it's not a normal John reaction either. So, yeah, lots of things to think about. But let's start by seeing what we can do for a next step, whether it's a permanent one or a temporary one, I don't know. But yeah, it's the next step nonetheless. So, back at the car park, get this one in the van. He's had his breakfast already, and then get heading. It's about an hour and a half to where this industrial unit is from here, so I'll have about 20 minutes spare for a bit of traffic too. So yeah, let's get going. Now, anyone that knows me would figure out that this is a bad move because the batteries were going flat on, or had gone flat on my camera. So not having a ladder, I have to come and improvise with a fence. So it's like park next to a fence and see how you get on. Thankfully there's loads of people around, so you know. And a nice, if soft, if not nettly fall, if I go that way. So I'm just going to check that this is obviously good thing to do, to check solar panels and stuff. Everything looks good. and to have a bit of a check of the positioning of the cameras as well, because sometimes they do kind of get caught on trees and stuff and end up pointing a bit further down than you'd like. So yeah, I'll check all of that and then I'll go back inside. Actually, while I'm outside, I've got to check my external temperature gauge because it thinks it's -9 out here and it really isn't, because the blink cameras have got temperature on them and the blink cameras say it's 10 degrees out here. So I think I need to change the batteries in that as well. So this, hi bud, yeah, is a bit of a change. So I'm just sat here putting my shoes on. Just got him off the bed. And not only is he eating his breakfast while he's looking at me, well, that he keeps looking at me, but also there's been a car outside. He's standing up. Normally he lies on the floor. We spent all night in bed last night. So I made the mistake of getting up or putting the light back on again. I'd gone to sleep at maybe about 10:30, and maybe about an hour later I popped the light back on. I could hear some funny noises and came back down just to check on him, and he was just getting comfy, you know. He just keeps kicking his feet out and catching the door card, which does make a bit of a racket because I've got bags and things like that shoved in there. So I just checked on him and I'm like, you all right, mate? Just checked his face and he got his belly up and wags his tail and whatnot. And then I get back in bed and look over and he's like his head like right there. And I'm like, you all right, buddy? And he comes out and has a sniff around everything. So I just stay quiet so I don't spook him. And then he gets back in his bed again and then pops his head back up again. And I'm like, are you all right, mate? You want to come see mummy? And he jumps up on the chair and gets all wiggly again. And I'm like, okay, so this is a whole night now. I knew it was going to happen. But it was a cold night last night. I kept the heating on for the majority of the night, up until me going to sleep. But I can't sleep if it's too hot. And of course, it does get a bit colder in the cab. But yeah, so he came up with me, he had a bit of a snuggle, and then he just took himself out of the covers, down to the bottom of the bed, curled up in a ball, and pretty much stayed there all night. So we both had a really good night's sleep. And then this morning I woke up and I'm like, hi sweet baby, and he goes all wiggly again and comes up to see me. So we're definitely getting there with the confidence, and the calling to me and things like that is really good. We did have a play out. There's a big field just to the side, so I've got his long line out. Lots and lots of still trying to escape into the trees, but I took out his bird and a ball, a squeaky ball, and we literally just kept swapping them over. So I'd throw the ball, obviously not further than 15 feet or however long this blooming lead is. And I'd throw that out. He'd run and get it. While he ran and get it, I'd pick up like the bird if he's got the ball. So if I said get ready, he'd drop whatever was in his mouth. Good boy, you finished. And then he'd go and get the other one. So we had a good play outside on his long lead. His recall is still not. He doesn't particularly want to come back, do you? Even if I'm the funniest person in the world. So I'm going to try some ham in my pocket today because I haven't got any chicken. And I know ham can be, it's just cooked and boiled ham, so hopefully it's not salty or anything like that for him. But he does seem to like a little bit of ham if I give him a piece when I'm having a sandwich. So maybe we'll try that and see if that's any better, eh, bud? And my Murphy's such a good boy. And my Murphy's such a good boy. Did you eat all your breakfast? Murphy, did you eat your breakfast? Or do we have to go burpee? Are you burpee? Yeah, he's a burpee. He's a good boy. This is right by the heater vent. And it's 1 degree outside, isn't it, bud? 1 degree. So we're leaving the heating on before we go walk, isn't we? Yeah, we are. No, Dexter keeps going sweepies. He knows what ah means. Ah. He keeps going sweepies, and then he thinks to himself, my daddy's not giving me any attention, so I'm going to come and lick daddy's head. It's like, oh, I've had to move all my things. Can't have my teddy, that's my teddy, it's not yours.
Yeah. Do you want to make a coffee?
And coffee?
You
For coffee?
No, just bobies. Just sweepies. Or judge you from a height. Judging from a height.
And then you got editing. And somebody who's just like, this is my toy. You're not having it. He says, you're not having it. And it's a good job he can read, so he knows his own name and everything. One on a lead, one off a lead. It's definitely a better combo.
Ready.
John, bless him, has to make sure he's throwing it only long enough for the long line, otherwise Mandy's going to go. Good boys. Good boys. Crash. We crashed. Oh no. Well, poor Dexter, there we go. Poor Dexter got wrapped around about 4 times. Baby. Oh, I'm going to get this one quick. I've not heard John laugh so much when both dogs are together. We're kind of figuring out whether Murphy can be off the lead, but he comes back like that, but then again he'll just take off. So it's a work in progress. We're feeling brave because they are knackered and they're loving the snuffle treat. I've got some treats, some ostrich pate, and just throw it up in the air and let it fall in the grass, and then you just go, oh, what's this? What's this? But no, but look, no lead. His lead is there. So this is a semi-enclosed field. It's actually really quite good. There's a gate over there, and then it kind of goes around there, and it's that kind of fencing, which is a bit more open. But Mr. Baby! It's lovely to see him. Dex has just taken off down there, hasn't he? And he's just like had a proper little happy gallop around. They're such lovely boys. Such lovely boys. They're going to be whacked out. Look at the colour of him. Look at the colour of him. He's practically half brown again. Right, so just a couple of nights for me here, one night for John. That field for the dogs is amazing. So even if we just come back for the field and not to stay, then that'd be ideal. But it's lovely around here. It's one of those places, if we could find somewhere to stay around here, then that would be quite nice, because it's not too far away from family, but it's still out in the sticks and countryside and everything. It's beautiful. So we have been trying to figure out what to do next. The units weren't really anything to show at all. The first one was far too small for anything. And John and I are obviously now trying to think about what we want to do with a unit if we get it, to see whether it's worth signing up for. There's like a minimum 2 or 3 years leases on most of them. And I mean, I don't know what we want to do in 3 years. However, if we're going to build a business out of it in some way, then it's worth it, isn't it? You know, we are tired from all the travelling. Both of us have just turned around and said, you know, just for a little bit, we're not willing to give it up yet, because we've still got a few really good long trips that we need to do. So, you know, we want to try and get that done still. But we don't mind having a bit of a pause in the middle to see whether we just do holidays. Can you imagine? Holidays. And just going away for a little bit and then coming back again. It's a funny set of circumstances that we obviously still want to be carrying on travelling, but for now we need something else. So, and my sister's just gone down and found out that they've got an oil tank in the back garden. We thought they just had it filled up, just in the month that Christine died. If she did, it doesn't last very long. I thought that, like, if no one was in the house, that oil would last for a very long time. We've had the heating turned off so far, but then we are probably going to have that on low while there's nobody there if the weather gets cold, because obviously we don't want anything to break. So there's that to think about as well, and how to get oil and what to do. Thankfully, and I am ever so thankful, my dad and Christine have got very, very good neighbours. So they have helped us out on more occasions than I'd like to admit. And it is funny because neighbours on one side, they have a motorhome. So we've been talking to them about motorhomes for a while. And I got a text off him the other day saying that they're looking for bikes for putting and taking in the motorhome, and they stumbled across our My Rider video. I mean, I've not mentioned anything about YouTube to them, so their big surprise was like, oh my goodness, it's John and Mandy, and they had no idea. So that was good fun. Well, yeah, it's so to cut a long story short, which I'm not going to because I'll leave all that in anyway. We're having to go down to Dad's, not only because there is still a lot of things to do, but because there's also a lot of things to do. I'm taking Mr. IT guy because my dad's office is full of old laptops and computers and things like that. So John's going to come down, instead of it being just me and my sister. Alice, my sister's third, is there with her as well. So it should actually be quite lovely. But it's one of those things where it's a lovely thing because we've got to get things done. So at the very worst, I mean, we've got to try and see if we can get some information off my dad's computers. So yeah, so that's going to be a few days of that, which is good, because I am getting right up to date with all of my accounts. I am going to get there today, stop in my van and send 2 tax returns, and then I am done. I'm not doing my paid job. I'm not doing my job until Saturday. So I've got 4 days without having to worry about that anyway. So we'll see what the dogs think of the house. We're just thinking, like, as soon as if anyone makes a banging noise, they're going to be so scared. But we'll figure it out as we're going along. And yeah, so all change plans once again to head down to Tewkesbury. But while we're down there afterwards, we're going to see if we can change area search on motorhomes and see what we can find down that way instead.